Starting things off this week, we got Seahawks and Tampa Bay being played in Germany. The first regular season game in Germany, as you can see here. I guess the crazy thing is that these two teams, are both leading their division. Obviously, Tampa Bay's division, the NFC South, having a lot of struggles around the board, I would say there. Obviously, Thursday night, you have the Panthers beating Atlanta. I had predicted against, the Panthers, just because I think that Atlanta, wants to kind of regain that number one seed, because pretty much in that division, if you're the one seed, you're going to be the only team making the playoffs, which Tampa Bay took last week. And they apparently have the tiebreaker over Atlanta when they were tied and had the same record at 4-5. So Tampa Bay, even with a loss here, still leading the division. Seattle with, a loss here, still leading their division, as you can see here. The thing that I think about with this is that it's like the NFC West, is arguably a way tougher division. Obviously, records-wise, not that much disparity besides Seattle in this division. I think that, there's a good amount of talent, in both divisions on every single team. Even Carolina, it's shown that, they're not willing to, tank their season, which they could fully well do, and, get a high draft pick for a quarterback, which I'm assuming they would realize would help them a lot, because Baker obviously isn't it. PJ Tucker, is a serviceable QB, not really the answer there. But they could still reasonably make the playoffs. And I don't know what their goals are in Carolina, but they're obviously trying to win and that sort of thing. But I guess moving on to the actual game, I personally think that Seattle, is gonna win this game. I don't know how it's gonna play out in Germany. I know that the people there are very, soccer oriented, and that these international games do get a lot of hype. I know that I remember hearing that Germany was apparently sold out and people were on a wait list to get tickets, in a pretty large stadium, 75,000, and that sort of thing. I guess, one other thing is, looking at the teams, and the impact that has on whether or not they have more fans. Tampa Bay obviously has Tom Brady. Tom Brady is a worldwide celebrity, Most people know about him. You think about, Seattle, and it's who do they have that has, potential stardom? I guess, possibly DK Metcalf, maybe Tyler Lockett. I doubt it. Metcalf, being a kind of huge athlete and very active on social media and, kind of blowing up in the league, I guess, and being recognized as, just a unique player and a good young player and that sort of thing. I guess looking at the injury report we have here, only one person out on the Seahawks. Marquise Goodwin, it's kind of unfortunate that he's got a groin injury and he's questionable. Hopefully he plays. I think that the Seahawks do have a really good wide receiver core with DK, Lockett, and Goodwin. Obviously a very, very healthy team. Only one player out this week, whereas you have, the Buccaneers, and they have Russell Gage is out. Tom Brady was, I guess, on the injury report, very odd. I guess Julio Jones being full participant in practice is kind of huge. He's always kind of banged up from year to year. Neck on Braid is questionable. That's not very good. The guard, Gedeke, out, bad. J.J. Russell, hamstring, out. But otherwise, you're looking at this, and I guess Mike Evans, limited participation. He's been playing phenomenal this year. It's really been the Tom Brady, Mike Evans show. And Antoine Winfield, I know, didn't play last week, but is full participant in practice. That's probably huge, especially against a team that's... The Seahawks run the ball, moderately well. Going back and looking at the stats here, but they're not a run-first team. And with the way that Geno Smith is playing, I would use the run to complement the pass with all the weapons that they have, of course. Being a lot more of an efficient offense. I know that the Tampa Bay for weeks was just really, really off on offense. Even last week when they won against the Rams. The Rams, I feel like the defense is kind of a shadow of last year. They lost Von Miller. They obviously still have Aaron Donald, but we haven't really seen an offense like we did, years ago when they won the Super Bowl, from Tampa Bay. And I think it has to do with the fact that they don't really have a run game. Teams expect the pass, and even though Brady, is making and doing really well this year, we take a look at his stats. Only one pick, 10 TDs though through this is week 10. And only through, 9 games obviously this year. They haven't had a bye yet, but it's like one TD a game, really not what you expect from a Hall of Famer. And then, even across the league, it's just kind of like not that many, throwing touchdowns. Not a lot of throwing touchdowns this year across the league, even through the league leaders. But, yeah, look at this, and through 9 weeks, he only got 405 yards from Leonard Fournette. Just an abysmal year for him. I don't know what is going on. The line has been banged up on Tampa Bay, which I think has affected that. And it's just like, and then you look at, like I said, the Seattle Seahawks, who have obviously been scoring a lot more, and they have this rookie running back, Kenneth Walker III, who I think is pretty good. He has over, 150 more yards with 10 less carries, 5 more TDs. I personally like him as a player watching the Seattle Seahawks this year. I think he's, going to be in the league a long time, barring any bad injury. But, I like what the Seattle Seahawks are doing. They really have a well-balanced, offensive attack, because their defense to me isn't terrible, but it's like they're obviously allowing 3+ touchdowns a game, 24, and that sort of thing. But yards rushing isn't abysmal. Passing game, isn't as high as you'd think. But I think that Geno Smith is doing a really good job at just chipping away with this good wide receiver core, and controlling games that way. But you're going up against, a team that it's like they don't give up a lot of passing, not a lot of rushing. Because I think that the defense at Tampa Bay, I guess, has looked a little bit shaky. And it's like there's even been some drama this week that I've heard about, that it's like Warren Sapp criticized him, being a former Bucs player. It's never good when one of your ex-Hall of Famers calls out your current team. And then even Devin White made a remark that it's like, oh, that's why some people don't make it in the pros. It just doesn't sound like a good situation in Tampa Bay. But to me, like Seattle's situation, being orchestrated by Pete Carroll, seems like they have, I guess, a really good mentor in him, still a really good head coach. Kind of shows the last couple of years with Russell Wilson, maybe there was just a big rift that was too hard to overcome. But I like what Seattle's doing, and I think it's really crazy to me that they say that the Buccaneers have this big of an advantage. And it's like, maybe possibly if, there's a lot of Brady fans, there's a lot of those types of people in Germany, but we really don't know. And I think that Seattle, is probably going to win this game. I think that the spread is bizarre. I think it's really weird that they say that this is the way it's going to be. I think that, the Seattle defense is, not the best, and Tom Brady can probably have, some good moderate to success. But it's like, if you always have to pass because you just flat out can't run it with your running back, it is hard to score once you get into the red zone. Like, teams just blanket the field. And, last week they went up, obviously, against Kyler Murray, and it's like, that team, has a decent run game with the quarterback and James Conner. And it's like Seattle, didn't allow them to just, put up a lot of points. So it's like, I feel like they're, better set to win this game than Tampa Bay. So I'm going to take Seattle by 5.